Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. As-salatu was-salamu ala Rasulihil Kareem wa ala alihi wa ashabihi wa man istanna bi sunnatihi ila yawmiddin. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, brothers. Today, inshallah ta'ala, we'll start the next hadith of our series of 40 hadiths of Imam An-Nawawi. Before we delve into the hadith number 4, we're just going to have quickly, remember, try to refresh our memory about the 3 hadiths that we had done so far. So the first hadith we did about the hadith. What was the hadith? Any brother, please? Innamal a'malu binniyat. Very good. So the hadith from the Bukhari, the number 1 hadith in the Bukhari, and that hadith was narrated by which Sahaba? Umar ibn Khattab. The second hadith we did, the name of the hadith is called Hadith of Jibril, or the hadith called the Sunnah, the mother of the Sunnah. And that is also called Hadith of Jibril, and that is also narrated by Umar ibn Khattab. And the last week we did the hadith number 3, that is described by Abdullah ibn Umar ibn al-Khattab, and that hadith was Bunya al-Islam al-Khams, means Islam is based upon 5 pillars. And we talked about the 5 pillars that we all know, Shahada, and then the prayer, the Zakah, the fasting, and the Hajj. So inshallah ta'ala today we'll do the next hadith, hadith number 4. And this hadith is a bit lengthier in description, but we'll try to, sectionize the hadith. We'll try like in 3 sections, and we'll talk about it. And inshallah ta'ala today we'll finish the hadith in a summary time. So here, this hadith is described by, Abdul Ar-Rahman Abdullah ibn Masud. Abdullah ibn Masud, as you all know, is a famous Sahaba. We'll talk about him a little bit. And then he said that, he reported that, Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the most truthful, the most trusted, told us, and this is the hadith started. So the hadith goes like this: verily the creation of any of you takes place when he is assembled in the mother's womb. So it's talking about the human development in the womb of a mother. And for 40 days, Rasulullah saying about the 40 days, he is like a nutfa, a drop of fluid. And then he said it becomes like a clot, like alaqa. The surah alaq that we know, the alaqa. Then he's saying that from the same period. Thereafter, it becomes like a morsel of meat as it's chewed, which is called mudugha. So 3 things are here: nutfa, alaqa, mudugha. And then he's talking about that an angel comes and blow the souls into the body, or into the thing growing inside the mother's womb, the small baby. So the ruh has been blown up for that angel, and that angel has another job to do. That is the job writing 4 things. What are the 4 things that he writes? He writes for that baby the 4 things that his rizq, his provision, his lifespan, how long he's going to be living, and also his deeds. Is it going to be doing good deeds or bad deeds? And also the last thing, whether he will be among the successful or among the wretched, meaning whether he will be in the Jannah or Jahannam. Now this part we'll talk about in details. What does it mean? What does these 4 things mean, and everything, inshallah ta'ala. And the hadith go on, and then it says, I swear by Allah, there is no God by He, so la ilaha illallah. One of you may perform the deeds of the people of the paradise till there is a length between arm's length, meaning someone is doing all his life through the deeds, good deeds, the deeds for a people of Jannah. But at the end, whatever has been written for his destiny, that took over him. Meaning he did something that will enter him to the Jahannam. On the other hand, the same thing goes. One of you may doing all the deeds for the Jahannam. You're looking at him and you think like, he's doing all the bad deeds and everything. But just before he passed away, he did something which is acceptable by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which is the deed for Jannah, and Allah entered him to the Jannah. And that's how the hadith finishes here. And this hadith is found in both Bukhari and in Muslim. And if we find the hadith in Bukhari and Muslim, that hadith is called, what is it called? Sorry?
Hadith is Sahih.
No, hadith is Sahih, of course. But if a Sahih hadith is found in both book of Bukhari and Muslim, yes. You tell me. No, it's called Muttafaqi alai. Muttafaqi alai. Meaning both hadith is found in Bukhari and Muslim. So this hadith is mentioned there. So now how we're going to discuss about this? The first thing we're going to talk about the Sahaba who narrated the hadith. So who was Abdullah ibn Masud? So Abdullah ibn Masud was a very, very famous Sahaba in regard that he was the number 6 to accept Islam. So when Rasulullah in his age of 40 became the Prophet of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He went, to spread the message, and as you all know that, he went to his wife Khadija, then, he went to the cousin of Khadija, and then the Ali radiallahu anhu was a small boy at that time. He accepted Islam. Then Abu Bakr, and after Abu Bakr, it was said that Usman, Abu Bakr pursued to Usman and everything. So Abdullah ibn Masud was the sixth person. So what an honor for this, that he was the only six people to accept the Islam. And it was said that Abdullah ibn Masud was not from Makkah actually. He's from a different place, like probably Yemen, but he was a slave. He was a slave of a guy. His name was Uqba ibn Mu'id. Uqba ibn Mu'id is a notorious guy who put the camel, the dead camel carcass on top of the head of our Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and he was killed in the battle of Badr. But he was a slave of that guy. And one day, Rasulullah and Abu Bakr, after accepting the Islam, they both walking, and they saw Abdullah ibn Masud. And he had some lamb, with him, because he's like slave. He was taking care of the lamb. And Rasulullah asked Abdullah, can we have some milk from one of this lamb? So Abdullah ibn Masud, no, these are not belongs to me. This belongs to my master. So I cannot let you do this. And also this goat is, this lamb is very, very old. I think it's not allowed to do any milk or anything. So Rasulullah said, okay, if you think it's not allowed to give any milk or anything, let it come to me and I will get some milk from it. And Rasulullah put his hand on the lamb and the milk comes out. And there's a lot of miracles like this, as you know from the seerah of Rasulullah. When this miracle happened, Abdullah ibn Masud understood that he is a true prophet of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and he accepted the Islam. And there's a lot of other things about Abdullah ibn Masud. One of the best things that Rasulullah in an authentic hadith, Rasulullah said, if you want to learn Quran, go to the four people. The first people is Abdullah ibn Masud. The second one, Salim of the Mawla of Hudayfa. So there's a slave called Salim. He is also very good in the Qira'ah. And the third one was Ubay ibn Kab, and fourth one was Muaz ibn Jabal. So Rasulullah mentioned the four names, to the Sahaba. Go, if you want to learn Quran, go to these people. Another hadith about Abdullah ibn Masud, he said by himself that I learned 70 surah of the Quran from the mouth of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So as if he was like sitting down with Rasulullah, face to face. Rasulullah was his sheikh, was his teacher, and he was learning almost 70 surahs at that time, the early time, or whatever surah was revealed, and he learned all by memory, and he has the honor of being one of the four of those ones. Also, there another hadith about him that one day he was the Rasulullah with some other Sahaba, they were going for an expedition, and he was climbing to a tree to get something for Rasulullah, probably a branch or something from a date tree or something, and his clothes was upward, so you can see his leg, the shin of his leg, or the ankle you can say. And some of the Sahaba was a bit laughing and making joke, because Abdullah ibn Masud was a very short guy, and also he has a very thin leg, so he was not a muscular guy. And the Sahaba was saying, we can see his leg, he's climbing the tree, and he's there making laugh. And that time Rasulullah saw those other Sahaba, and they say, these 2 feet will be heavier than the mountain of Uhud in the day of judgment. So this 2 leg will be the heavier of the mountain of the Uhud in day of judgment, because his deeds are so precious and so powerful. And also, he was all his life, he followed the sunnah of Rasulullah. And he was, when he accepted Islam, he was already at the age of almost like similar age of Rasulullah. So he passed away actually only after 30 hijrah of Rasulullah. So he didn't live long after Rasulullah. And about the hadith, he narrated almost 848 hadiths, and that's what the scholar says in different books, different sahih. Some of them are not probably not sahih or something, but it says around number 848 hadiths was described by him, and this is the hadith number 4 also described by Abdullah ibn Masud. Now let's go to the hadith. So as we said, we're gonna have the hadith in 3 sections, and we're going to talk about each section very quickly, and inshallah ta'ala we'll finish it. The first section, as we remember, that Rasulullah is talking about the human life development in the womb of the mother's tummy. As we mentioned here, that verily the creation of any of you will take place in the womb of a mother, and then talk about the 3 words, the nutfa, alaka, and mudghah. So all these 3 words has been used in the Quran, and there was actually like a contextual miracle of Quran. I will talk about that later on, about these words. And also Allah mentioned this word in Surah Hajj, like some of the surah, the famous surah of Surah Hajj. Surah Hajj, if you read Surah Hajj, ayah number 5, Allah have a big description about the same thing. Allah is saying that I make them from the turab, the tin, from the clay, and after that it becomes a nutfa, a drop of the fluid. And then Allah said it's became a alaqa, and then Allah says mudgha. After the mudgha, the flesh comes, the lahma, and then comes the bone and everything. So Allah gives a full description of that thing, of the process of the baby of the mother's tummy. Also in Surah Mu'minun, ayah number 14 to 12, also talk about this. Surah Qiyamah, towards the end, 36 and 37 ayah, and Surah Insan, ayah number 2. So all this surah has this description of this kind of words and this kind of reference from Quran. So what basically is means, as you all know, these are all different terms of the things. Now, there is some debate about this hadith and some wording problem in this hadith, although the hadith is sahih. What is the problem? If you, as I said, this hadith is found in Bukhari and Muslim. If you open Bukhari and found this hadith not in the book of Imam An-Nawawi, the same hadith is there, but there is no word called nutfa there. There's no word called nutfa there. And it says the stages in such a way that everything looks like that everything happens in the first 40 days. So there is a time factor here. In Sahih Muslim also, you don't find the word nutfa, but there are other hadiths that supports the word nutfa, and also the Quran supports the word nutfa. So there are other hadiths like in Abu Dawud and An-Nasa'i that has the same version. So probably Imam An-Nawawi took the version from there, although the similar hadith in Bukhari. Now the problem is, in the debate between the scholars is, these 3 stages, does it happen in 40 days? Or each stage take place in 40 days and makes it 120 days? Because there are some other hadiths, which is explicitly Rasulullah said, that, the angel comes to the womb of the mother at 42 days. The other hadith, it said it comes to the womb as 40 days. The other hadith, it says 45 days. So we have 45 days, we have 40 days, we have 42 days. And in this hadith, as saying the same period, so meaning 40, 40, 40, and then the angel comes and becomes 120. Why this is important? Because from this hadith is one of the main hadiths, and that the scholars derive the rulings, the fiqh of abortion. When it is allowed or not allowed to do abortion in Islam, and the time period and everything. But the majority of the scholar goes with the 120 days. Why it is that? Although those hadiths that says 40 days, 42 days, and 45 days, it says the angels comes to the womb of the mother, but it doesn't say explicitly the angels blow the ruh to the body or to the small body that's developing. This hadith says that angel blow the ruh to the body, but in the other hadith it says the angel comes. Maybe it comes, it doesn't say explicitly what the angels do at that time. Maybe he writes the deed at that time and come back again and do the thing. So we don't know. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows the best. But as I said, most of the scholars says that it is 120 days, and that's why after 120 days, if a lady is pregnant, this is not allowed. After 120 days, you cannot, whatever is the case, you cannot do the abortion unless there is a really, really medical urgency. And some group of people, some mazhab, they follow the 40 days because it is safer, because they think that hadith is authentic more. And most of the major scholars say, no, it is 120 days is allowed, there is a valid reason and everything. So that is the main thing for this first part of the hadith. And also, that is or another thing is that here, that these 3 words is not the only 3 words. As I'm going to show you, there are other components to make a human body that is described in the Quran. But in this hadith talks about only the first 3 stages, as we can say the first 120 days or first 40 days or something like this. The next section is the section of the angel. So the angel coming to the womb, and this is a special angel. And as we learned from the, we had a lecture about the angels, and actually I had a khutbah here about the angels, and we talked about there are different angels for the different jobs. As we know, we have angels on our shoulders to write down our deeds, every deed. Today I recited Surah Al-Qaf. In Surah Al-Qaf, Allah said, there are angels all the time. You cannot utter any word that's not been recorded. Either it's a good word or a bad word, everything is got recorded. So that's their job. And this angel has a special job, although we don't know the name of the angel or anything, but this angel's job is to come to the womb of the mother and write these 4 things. And these 4 things, as we all mentioned, the risk, the lifespan, the deeds, whether it's going to be good deeds or bad deeds, and whether he will be among the wretched or blessed. Now the same thing is also mentioned in another hadith, and this is related to the next section also. If everything is written there, then what's the point? And actually there's a hadith narrated by Ali radhiyallahu anhu where Rasulullah said, every one of you is already been written, whether you are a people of Jannah or whether you are a people of Jahannam. And the Sahaba asked the same question that we have in our mind. Oh Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, if it is already written, then what's the point of doing good deeds? If I am written to go to Jannah, I don't need to do all these good things. I will do something good that will take me to Jannah. But then Rasulullah answered, I'lam, meaning do your good deeds, because you don't know where are you. And also, because of these deeds, these are qadar from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The angel is writing it down. But then a scholar go deep into the matter of the qadar. I think we also discussed a little bit when we described the hadith of Jibril, where one of the pillar of our iman is believing in the destiny. That time also we described what is qadar and everything, because there are qadar, the main qadar, the general qadar for all of us, for all the worlds, for all the animals, everything in the world has been written by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in Lawh al-Mahfuz, and only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala know about that. And that is written 50,000 years before the creation has been created. Now there are other type of qadar, the yearly qadar, that's in Laylatul Qadr, Allah tell this qadar to the angels. And some scholars say there are daily qadar also. After the Fajr, when the Fajr, you pray the Fajr prayer and everything, or when the sun is rising, before the sun rises, there are some angels comes and write the qadar for the day. So these qadars, and there's a lot of discussion about this. This is a very deep matter. We cannot discuss it in like a short time, but the main thing is that the qadars can be changed, depending on what type of qadar is that. It is a daily qadar, and also it is categorized who knows the qadar. The main qadar is known to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala only. There are some angels who know this type of thing. This is a qadar for the one particular person for his lifetime. And there are also yearly qadar and daily qadar. And Rasulullah mentioned in a hadith that if you have a sincere dua can change your qadar. So if something is destined for you, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala change it. But then again, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala already written that. So how it is possible? It is possible because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows that, at that age, at that time, you will make a dua that, oh Allah, my child is sick. Suppose you are born with a sick child or something, and you're suffering for that, and you are making dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, oh Allah, make my child is, well, make him, like other child and everything. And Allah accepted your dua after 1 month or 2 months or 1 year or 2 years. So Allah knew it before that you're going to be asking from Allah for this time, and just after 1 year or just after 2 years, Allah will change your qadar. So that is written in the Lawh al-Mahfuz. So Allah knows that. So that is the same reflection in this hadith also. And the third section and the last section for today is the concept of qadar again. And this is the same thing as we said, a person is doing all these good deeds. He's praying, he's doing hajj, he's doing zakah and everything. But at the end he does something bad, and that Allah takes him to the Jahannam. But that doesn't mean, our destiny, our belief in qadar should not stop us doing good deeds, because we don't know which group we belongs to. And so we cannot say, okay, if Allah has written me to go to Jahannam, so I don't care. I'm not going to pray. I'm not going to do zakah. I'm not going to hajj. I don't need to do all this thing. I can do whatever I want. I'm going to Jahannam anyway. So I just take it. What's the point? No, we cannot do, because we don't know that. This is the mentioning. If you look at the hadith in the other way, in the positive way, that a guy who is doing all the bad things, even after he doing all these things, he will do something good, because if he has sincerity and in everything, he change his deeds and everything, Allah can take him to the Jannah. So this is where, inshallah ta'ala, this hadith mentioned the 3 sections as we all discussed. The section of the human development, the section of the angels coming to the mother's home and writing the deeds, writing the qadar for the newborn, and also the last thing is about that this is what's going to happen. The last thing I'm going to mention, as I mentioned, about the nutfa and alaqa and the mudugha thing, the components of the human body. Before we go there, another important thing I forgot to mention actually. This hadith, when it started, Abdullah ibn Masud narrated that, I heard from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the most truthful who should be trusted. Why did he add these 2 words, most truthful, most trusted? If you read hadith in Arabic language, most of the hadith say qala Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So Rasulullah said qala Rasulullah, meaning Rasulullah says from the Abu Hurairah, Rasulullah says from Aisha radhiyallahu anha. All this like never add any adjective of that. But here Abdullah ibn Masud saying the most truthful and the most who should be believed in, because this is a matter of ilmul ghaib. Now we have ultrasonogram and all these things, and we can find these things, and this matches with the scientific fact. We all know that, this is the scientific fact that Allah has described 1400 years ago. But that time they didn't have ultrasonogram. So it's something from ilmul ghaib. They don't know what's happening in the tongue. What is nutfa, what is alaka, what is a leech-like thing, what is a clot, blood clot, and they didn't know anything about that. So that's why Abdullah ibn Masud putting an emphasis before he described the hadith, that this is by Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and he is the Sadiqul Amin. He is the most truthful, and he should be believed in. The next slide, Actually, this slide that I'm going to show you now, I have done this slide in here when I used to do the amazing Quran. So it's one of the miracle of the Quran. So inshallah ta'ala we'll see it here. As we mentioned that in Surah Hajj, Allah mentioned that, about the 5 things, 5 components of the things, and also Surah Mu'minun and some other parts. So different parts of the Quran, you find this word. Nutfa, alaqa, mudqa, laham, izama. This is all the things. Laham means meat, the morsel. And izama, as you say, azim, the same word comes from izama. Azim means bone actually. It means a strong thing. That's why azim comes from like the grade. So the azima, all these materials has been described. And if you think this way, the turaba, the dust, that Allah said, I created people from the dust, as you all know that was mentioned 17 times in the Quran. And the nutfa, the sperm that we have talked about today, that was mentioned in the Quran 12 times. Alaka 6 times. Mudaga 3 times, then the idama, the bones, 15 times, and lahma is 12 times. And if you add these all things, if you add the component, it becomes insan, right? That's the word for the human being, right? Insan, and you all know that. And if you add up these things, it's 65. Meaning this component, if you add up, is 65, and in the Quran, insan is also mentioned in 65 times. And one of these scholars, deal that, because Allah mentioned the components to build insan 65 times, Allah used the word exactly 65 times in the Quran. So that is one of the, textual or, as we can say, literal miracle of the Quran. So inshallah ta'ala we'll finish it here. Jazakallahu khairan. Subhanakallahumma bihamdik. Ashhadu an la ilaha ant. Astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk.